All right, welcome back, everybody. We are back from our break and glad to have you back with us. So, we were jumping into the Oklahoma and Texas game from last week. I'm going to let you go ahead with what you're about to say, Jeremiah.
Dude, I have been talking so much smack about how bad of a football player Spencer Rattler is. I have not been on the Spencer Rattler train at all this year. I thought he was inconsistent. I thought that his downfield ball was not good enough. I have said over and over again that if Oklahoma could find a different quarterback, they should, because Spencer Rattler is not it.
Right.
And boy, did they. Texas was smacking them 35-17 going into the half. Texas was beating their eyes shut. We watched that game together. We were talking. We were so excited. We were back and forth.
And it shouldn't even been that.
Oh, my goodness.
That 4th and 1, 60-some-odd-yard touchdown that old dude ran was something serious. And you can see the look on Spencer Rattler's face when he ran it. He was like, man, because he knew right then
he was done.
His goose was cooked.
Out. And if I'm Lincoln Riley and I'm looking back at that game, there is no, like, if he brings Spencer Rattler out and starts him next week or this week, every single Oklahoma fan is coming for his head. I'm telling you right now, they're coming for his head. Yeah. He is not going to be coaching long if he brings Spencer Rattler out and starts him. Caleb Williams. If you don't know that name, you're going to know that name soon. Caleb Williams is the man. If Oklahoma wants to win a national championship in the next 3 years, they just need to let Spencer Rattler walk and stick with this Caleb Williams kid because he is fireworks.
Yeah. For whatever reason, the offense just works with him in it. And I don't know. It was like all of a sudden the line was blocking and the receivers were, hitting their routes and running backs were hitting their holes. And I mean, everything just started to flow. Whereas when Rattler was running it, everybody just looked like
they were stuck in mud.
Yeah, and just lost and didn't know where to go and what to do. And I don't know if it's a personality thing. I don't know. I don't think that Spencer Rattler is just a terrible football player. I think it's probably more of just either he doesn't work with whatever scheme they're running or there's some kind of thing there in the locker room. Maybe the guys are like, hey, this other guy's better. You should be playing him. Maybe they have less respect for Rattler because of that. I mean, I don't know what the deal is, but whatever reason it is, when Williams comes in, it's abundantly clear that the rest of the team gets fired up and they make a way for him.
It almost looks like Spencer Rattler just has an attitude problem. And I'm not like I genuinely, guys, I don't think that he's a bad quarterback. I think that he has the potential if he's in the right system. I don't think he fits Oklahoma's system. I think that he's got a big arm that he looks for the downfield ball. Like he looks for the deep ball before anything else. He doesn't really avoid getting hit. He doesn't really and so like all that plays into it. But really realistically, like you said, he just looked like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like once that kid came in, busted out that big run, he's just like, okay, I can't. That's not my job anymore. And it was like he knew in the back of his mind.
Yeah.
He wasn't even playing for his job anymore. He was playing to get rid of that job so that he could probably potentially hit the transfer portal.
Maybe, but I mean, he's already still. I mean, he's still listed kind of as a high draft pick, so I don't know that he would go play anywhere.
He's what, a junior this year?
Yeah, he can go in the draft. Then that's the point that I think it was Josh Pate that made it. What if Riley, and this is the decision he's most likely looking at, if he decides to go with the true freshman, what is going to happen? Is Rattler going to ride it out just in case dude gets hurt and he gets some more playing time to bump his draft stock, or is he just going to say, deuces, I'm going to hit the weights and get ready for the draft? Because I mean, he's obviously made his case. They still have him with a relatively high draft stock as is. So I don't think that losing his position there is going to affect it that much.
The question that I would then ask is, what team in the NFL really needs a quarterback? And the only team that I can think of personally, and honestly would love to see Spencer Rattler play for, is the Atlanta Falcons. and that's just my opinion. We don't really talk about pro football on here, but like just looking at that, if that is the decision that ultimately Spencer Rattler makes or ultimately Lincoln Riley makes, and it leads to him leaving, what team does he go play for? Who needs a quarterback? Because a lot of these teams are running with the young quarterbacks. You're now seeing the Patriots run with a young quarterback. The Dolphins, the Eagles, all three Alabama quarterbacks and one former Oklahoma quarterback, technically. Then you got Justin Herbert over there in LA. You got
that boy.
You got, maybe Matthew Stafford coming, whatever, like for the other LA team, like you could probably get somebody like Spencer Rattler behind him because he's only going to be able to play for another 5-6 years, but even that, like, do you let a talent like Spencer Rattler sit behind somebody like that? You got Zach Wilson and you got Sam Darnold and you got all these
the Jets issues are not quarterback.
No, the Jets don't have an O-line. The Jets don't have they don't have any.
What they'll probably do though in a year or two is draft another quarterback. Like that's going to fix their problem
because their quarterback.
Darnold's played pretty well since he's went to the Panthers.
They're 3-2, 3-3 right now, something like that.
But still, he's played well.
He's played well.
Right. So wasn't the problem with the Jets. And I don't think, it's just a management issue. But before we move forward, is there anything else college football related?
I don't think I have anything with college football now. I love that coming into this week, Coach Saban has a chance to push back into that college football. Like, hey, we're the top team, we're the top dogs. Even though we got hit in the mouth, we're tasting our own blood. Mm-hmm. Alabama comes out with a dominant win this week, and they proved that was just one of those like by happenstance. I don't even want to say fluke because I still think Texas A&M is a solid team.
I think so too.
I don't want to call it a team of destiny, but nobody ever had Jimbo Fisher being the one to beat Coach Saban, be the first coach.
I think people figured it would be Lane or Kirby.
I genuinely thought it was going to be Kirby at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But then again, because like that storybook ending with Kirby winning a national championship,
right,
beating Coach Saban, that would have made it, that much better.
Right.
But all that to say, I'm expectant this week. I see Oklahoma's got a trap game this week, and so does Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk about those two, like the only thing I got to say is Cincinnati's playing UCF, who is not on their level. They're a 21-point favorite, but they could walk in there and do the same thing that Alabama did last week because Alabama was a really big favorite.
Yeah. Cincinnati's going to have to stay on their game because they really can't afford to. They really can't afford any close games. They're going to have to be 10 to 15-point wins the rest of the year. The only game, depending on how SMU fares the rest of the year, they might have a little leeway with would be them because they're already ranked. And if SMU continues to win, they'll still be a ranked team, but they got to win that one regardless. And so if SMU stays ranked, then they'll at least have one more win over a ranked team, but they can't lose, period. If they lose, they're out of the conversation. But if they win out and have 10 to 15-point wins the rest of the way, they really need some like 20 to 30-point wins. Then they're in good shape, but they got to stay vigilant and understand that they cannot let up the gas.
Well, the only reason I say that this Texas Christian game with Oklahoma is a trap game is because TCU just played a really solid game with Texas.
I think
2 weeks ago.
I think Oklahoma has a couple that are probably going to be dangerous for them. That's Baylor also,
and then Oak State
right
at the end of the season
because they've all been playing great. And honestly, I think Baylor is probably the one that is the most dangerous because Dave Aranda is such a great coach, and I think he's going to be more prepared than anybody for that Oklahoma team. So. We're going to find out exactly what's going to happen, and it's going to be really interesting to see moving forward. But for this week, I think you're right. It could be when they drop. I don't see them making it out of the regular season unscathed. I think they'll drop at least one, but we're going to see.
So let's do some quick predictions because I have a couple of games, and I know we've talked about several of these games, but so we got the Cincinnati UCF game. I'm going to go Cincinnati.
I think so too.
I think that Cincinnati is like they're obviously the better team.
Right.
UCF is not the same team that they were a few years ago, but at the same time, like I said, it's a trap game. It's one of those, like, if you're not paying attention, UCF can strike and get you down on your luck.
They might scream past their way to a win, man.
And then we got Oklahoma
You didn't
State.
catch that, did you?
Screen pass their way to okay.
And sweater vest is way all the way up there, man.
All right, so next we
All
got Oklahoma State and Texas. I don't think that Texas is as bad of a team as everybody thinks they are. I think that this is a winnable game.
I mean, they took Oklahoma. Everybody's saying Oklahoma's a top 4 team, and Texas took them to the end of the game.
Yeah. And Texas,
So if
in my opinion,
Oklahoma's a top 4 team, and Texas played them to that level, then Texas is as good as they
a top
are.
4 team.
I mean, they lost the game in the last minute. And they controlled most of the game. They have some things they have to clean up, obviously, and they're not there yet. But it won't be long. I mean, the talent's there.
I think by next year, Sark has this Texas team being one of, if not the best team in the country.
Most likely.
If he can get some key players to stay, like the Casey Thompson or Bijan Robinson, you know, if they decide to up and leave, you know, whatever that may be. I don't think they're going to, because I think they're both sophomores this year. But moving forward, you know, that's kind of the hope. But I'm gonna pick Oklahoma State this week because Texas has let me down the last.
I'm gonna go Texas because I think they're gonna bring the heat. I don't think Oklahoma State's gonna be able to stop Bijan Robinson, and I think that they got a bitter taste from losing to Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma State will probably win until they play Oklahoma after this game, but I really think Texas is going to pull this one out.
Okay. Florida LSU.
Woo, man, is this one? Where is this one at?
It looks to be.
I think it's in Death Valley.
It's in Death Valley.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going Florida. LSU is a dumpster fire, man.
They are.
They can't do anything right. I mean, I wouldn't care if Florida started their 3rd string and brought in a high schooler to run quarterback. Like, seriously, LSU would find a way to lose it. I mean, they are that bad right now. And it's not because they don't have talent on their team. This is 100% coaching.
Yeah.
They have so much talent on that team that is being thrown into the pit of despair. And it's so unfortunate for these kids. And it is 100% just terrible coaching.
Coach Orgeron, if he is not sitting on a seat of coals,
he's a game or 2 away.
His butt has got to be on fire, dude. He's got to be just.
It's not long. It's not long. Most everybody in the coaching world is kind of expecting to.
But if that LSU job comes open, that's a video that we will bring to you at a later date.
Yes.
We'll just put a pin in that. Boop. All right. The next game we got is BYU and Baylor.
I'm going Baylor.
I think Baylor pulls it out, man. BYU is not playing anybody, and they're still ranked. If Baylor lost 1 game, and I think it was to Oklahoma State, they got beat like a drum. And Oklahoma State stayed ranked, and Baylor kind of dropped out of the rankings. I don't necessarily think
Baylor's
that's
only lost
fair.
to Oklahoma State, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Baylor's only losses to Oklahoma State, and they got beat like a drum. They got beat pretty bad. But to say, like, I think that Baylor continues.
Oh, I thought you were saying BYU's only lost.
No, I don't remember who BYU's loss was, but anyways. Next game is Ole Miss and Tennessee.
Oh, that's a tough one, man.
Now, you made mention earlier that you think Tennessee could do it.
I think they can do it. Now, do I think they will? That's a whole different question.
I'll tell you what ESPN thinks, if it'll load up. ESPN has Tennessee at a 54% chance to beat Ole Miss.
Well, that doesn't help.
That's the predictor. Is Tennessee is predicted to win this game.
The thing is, Tennessee doesn't have the defense to slow down that offense, and they're putting up how many points on who?
They put up 21 on Alabama. They're
No,
averaging
not them. I'm talking about Tennessee,
Missouri, and South Carolina.
Exactly.
I think that Ole Miss's defense is better than what people are giving them credit for. You know, they did let 51 points get up against Arkansas, but Arkansas is not a bad team.
That's a decent offense, man.
Like KJ Jefferson scored
So
6 touchdowns.
here's how I see SEC teams. You have A level, and that's basically Alabama and Georgia.
Every now and again, Florida.
Yeah, I mean,
every now and again, Auburn.
I would even put Florida there now because of how well they played Alabama and how well I think they're probably going to play Georgia. I think that Florida-Georgia game is going to be a close one. I don't know who's going to win. I wouldn't even really want to put a prediction on it, but I think it's going to be a close game. I still think that with Mullen as the coach and the talent they have on that team, they're a competitive team. And right now, as well as Kentucky's played, I know that some of the games have not been, other than Florida, they haven't really beat any great teams, and the games have been close. You know, I think it's Missouri and South Carolina's two of the teams they beat. But I mean, they're kind of sniffing it, but they're in that B level. You know,
Kentucky's one of those teams like Iowa that they're not going to beat you because their offense is so much better than you. They just got grit and grind on that defensive side of the football.
Well, but right now they've consistently gotten better over the past, since Mark Stoops got there. Sorry, Mark. I have respect for you. I just accidentally said Bob. It was a mistake. I'm so wrong. But anyway, they've consistently gotten good since Mark Stoops became the coach, and what we're seeing is they've went from the bottom of the pile to now they're right there knocking on the door of, you know, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd of the East every year. That's incredible, man. So I would put them in that B level with Ole Miss, and you know, and even I would even have LSU up until
this year.
Well, up until Ogeron took over. He had 2019, but even when the Mad Hatter was there, they were competitive.
Yeah,
you know, until his last year or two. But they were always. I mean, you didn't know, except you didn't know you were going to beat them. They were winning 9 or 10 games. So that's the thing. They have been a competitive team, and that's what they expect from their team. You know what I mean? But so then you have that next tier. You've got Ole Miss and you pretty much you got
Ole Miss, Arkansas, Mississippi State.
Right.
I would put Tennessee in there because they're Tennessee, give or take on a year, they could go 2-10 or they could go 8-4.
Right.
You know, like it just depends on which Tennessee you're getting that year.
And then you got the bottom of the barrel, which is pretty much Missouri, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're missing so Texas A&M would be in the A tier with.
Oh yeah, well
Alabama, Texas A&M.
I'm not ready to put Texas A&M in A because
I think there's only 2 teams that really belong in the A tier.
Probably Alabama and Georgia.
With that like B++ being Florida and Texas A&M.
Yeah.
And then after that, you got your Auburns, you got your
we're ranking Auburn.
You have to. The only reason I would put Auburn up so high is because even on Auburn's down years, they're not losing more than 4 games in the season.
Well,
Auburn's going to get you 8 to 10 wins in a season.
Well, you don't know if they're going to. I mean,
you don't know what Auburn team you're playing that week, anyways.
They might come out and blast you. You know what I mean? So you're never going to see Auburn play like South Carolina.
No.
You know, like they're never going to go 3-9 or whatever. So
the worst I think I've seen Auburn in the last 10 years is a 6-win Auburn team.
Yeah.
And I think they went 6-6. Even that, like, you don't see Auburn do that.
Yeah.
They're just not. They're not a consistent perennial bottom of the barrel team.
Right.
And so, you know, like I would put Auburn in that B.
Yeah, I would put Auburn in the. I would have them in the B because they've been consistently a ranked competitive team. But I say all that to just say, you know, well, I don't even know where I was going with that when I started that.
I don't know. I'm glad we did it though, because now we have somewhat like hierarchy in the SEC so people can understand.
We need to build a chart.
We do. We
We
need
need to
to
build a chart for that. And that's gonna be my goal, to build a chart to put on the website of SEC hierarchies. Give us some feedback on that. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, give us, guys, for real. Let's just take a quick little, please give us feedback. Like, we genuinely enjoy it. We need
Yes.
it. I had somebody tag me in something the other day. Shout out to my dude, Kanan Jones. He tagged us on Facebook in a On This Day post.
Oh, okay.
And it was Georgia Tech had beat a team 222-0.
Oh, yeah. that was
And
sick.
so like we're thinking of new segments. If you have a segment idea, if you're, whatever it may be, we want to do this and kind of make this more profitable for you guys too.
Right.
It's, while we love it, most of this is just us talking about what we see or what we feel like talking about. But like, if you have a segment idea or, something like that, which soon once basketball season, because we're coming up on the NBA season. So within this next week, we're going to have our first guest come on, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the NBA. Brandon barely knows about this, but it's somebody that I personally know that I've talked a lot of NBA with while we were living in separate states, me and my brother. And this dude kind of took over that role of being big brother to me, and we talked a lot about just NBA greats and our perspective on the NBA. And he's got a really good insight, and I think you guys will really enjoy it. But stay tuned. We're coming in with some NBA stuff here soon. We're gonna probably once it gets closer to playoff season, we'll talk about the pro football playoffs, and then we got college basketball coming up as well.
Yeah, March Madness will be a lot of fun to dig through.
That's gonna be a blast.
Talking about the NBA draft and then the NFL draft, that'll be fun to dig into as well. So,
but if you have any like ideas or anything like that, if you want to see us like do a live stream on Facebook or whatever it may be, also like and shares, send it to people. Let people know we're out there.
yeah.
Guys, we genuinely we don't care if we make money off of this. We just want to do it because this is what we love. And we know a lot of people love talking about football. We know a lot of people love talking about sports in general. So let us know. We will gladly figure out a way. If you have a good take on something, we will shout you out.
Mhm.
If you want to get if you want to even potentially come on the show with us, we'll figure out a way to get you on. If you have a blog post or something you want to send, we had somebody reach out to us and ask if we would share a blog post, but they never ended up tagging us in. But we will do stuff like that. We'll share it onto our page. We'll share it onto our website. Let us know. And all that to say, we are excited, guys, moving forward. We got some big plans coming. We are obviously in a new place. This is not our forever home, but Brandon did a really good job building this door, and it slides back and forth. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But you don't want to see back there because it's really nasty.
Yeah.
But we got some big things coming for you guys, and we want y'all to be encouraged and want y'all to know this is only the beginning of this journey. We are excited to see what happens over these next year, over the next few months. Just help us, man. Help us out with the algorithms, whatever it is. I don't like saying that word because people kind of latch onto that and they're like, well, they're talking about the algorithm.
Well, it's just if you're watching on YouTube, just go ahead and hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you don't miss anything if you want to.
But it also lets YouTube know that you like our stuff.
Right. But in closing, one thing, whether you're listening to podcasts or whether you're watching on video, I know we mentioned earlier that the reason we had delayed on a video was because we had a death in the family, and he was a huge Georgia Bulldogs fan. So sort of in memory of him tonight, I just kind of want to sign off. As hard as this is going to be for me to do, I just want to, in remembrance of him, sign off with a Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. No,
See you guys.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs, and see you guys on the next one.
Take care, Roll Tide.